Hello guys, in this video I want to teach you how to provide a checkmate with a king and a queen uh, against just a single king. I think it's the most important checkmate in the whole chess, because if you know how to provide a checkmate with just one queen, you will be able to win a lot of games when you will just be a pawn up or 2 pawns up, and you will just get your pawn to the 8th rank. You'll just put a queen there, and the game will just practically be over, because you will know to put a checkmate with just one queen. So the position you want to reach is this position where the opponent's king is staying in the corner, and our queen is standing like this in 3 squares from it. So in this position, what you basically want to do, you want to bring your king to h6, let's put on h6, and bring our queen to h7. So you need to remember the standing. If the king, queen, and the king is standing in one line, this is a checkmate, because the king is guarding the queen, and the queen is threatening the king and blocking all his escaping squares. So there's no problem to provide a checkmate in this position, because black just has 2 moves. He can go to g8 or to h8, and he will just stand in his place. Let's say king g8, king e3. We just bring in our king to the h6 square or to g6. It doesn't matter, and then we'll just go to g7, and it's checkmate. The only problem for amateurs to give the checkmate is to reach this position where the queen is blocking all these king's squares and leaving this king on the corner of the board for the rest of the game. So you need to learn to reach this position, and it's very easy to do it. I think the easiest method to do it is to use a knight method. I don't know how it's called, but I think we can call it knight method. So it's basically you just bring your queen to the distance of a knight from the king. So in this position, let's say it's queen d3. So imagine if it was a knight, it would attack the king. If the king comes to f4, you are going to e2. Okay, you are always staying in the distance of the knight from the king. And if the king comes to f5, you are going to e3. So at the end, the king will come to the corner. Doesn't matter how long it takes. The king will come there. Let's say king to g4. Now you go to f2. King to g5, you go to f3. Okay, just a knight distance. And if the king comes to h4, you can stop the video and try to find the right move, how to place the queen in the knight distance from the opponent's king. I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, so if you found the move queen to g2, that's the best way to continue. And now the king comes to h5, queen to g3. Okay, now you can see that the king was pressed to the edge of the board, and now we are just pushing it to the corner, and it has no squares at all, because our queen is just cut the king off the g file, and it should just stay here and go to the corner. And we reach this position where our king stands here, stands on g5, and the king stands on h8. And in this position, what we should do basically is to bring our king and to bring our queen to g7 and give a checkmate. But before this, I want to mention one thing. Don't go to g6, because this position is a stalemate. Stalemate is when your opponent has no moves at all and no one is threatening the king. So in this position, black has no moves, because our queen is protecting all these squares, all king squares to which he can go. So in this position, it's a draw. Stalemate is a draw, because no one threatens the king, and there's no moves that black can do. So be very careful to not go to g6, because when I was an amateur, couple of years ago I played against a very strong player, and I played very good, and I got a pawn up, and then I got one more pawn, and I played very well, and after 3 hours I reached this position and I automatically put my queen to g6, and it was just a draw. So instead of this, you should just bring your king to these squares, to f7 or f6 or f8. It doesn't really matter. When you will bring your king to there, you will understand how to checkmate. And in this position, the checkmate is just queen to g7. Okay, it's not in one line, but here what you need to do is just that the queen and the opponent's king will be in one line. If the king is protecting the queen, then it's over. Doesn't matter from where it defends the queen, from f6, f7 or f8. It's all checkmates. So let's try it one more time. Let's put our pieces on the, I don't know, on random squares. Let's say the king is on b6. So how white should move here? I'll give you 5 seconds. Of course, you can stop the video to try to find the best move. Okay, so if you found, congratulations, it's queen to d5. So we are placing our queen to the distance of a knight from the king. Now the king comes to c7, let's say. Now just queen to e6. And let's say king to b7. How do we continue here? So it's queen to d6. King comes here, we come here. And at the end, when the king comes to the corner of the board, be careful. Don't come to c7 because it's just a stalemate and it's a draw. Just bring your king to the b6 square. Yes, just bring your king, and when you'll bring it to b6, here in this position, you will just come to b7, and it's a checkmate. So there are a lot of methods to put a checkmate with the king and the queen. This is not the fastest one, but the easiest one. No matter what position you will reach, let's say you will reach a position, I don't know, you will reach this position where you can move your queen to d3 to get this distance of a knight from the king. So in these positions, you can just put a check, and then come to this knight distance from a king. So let's say in this position our opponent comes to a2, we can go to c3, then to d2. It's all knight distance, and in this position we'll just bring our king from the side and just give a checkmate. So let me show you. We'll just come here, and in this position queen to b2 is a checkmate. So I believe in practical learning. It means that if you will watch this video, you will understand how to provide a checkmate, but in a practical game you may forget it or something like this, or you may just give this horrible stalemate with queen to c2 accidentally. So in the description below I will leave a link to chess.com trainer. You can just click there and try to provide a checkmate with a king and a queen against a computer. The only thing you need to remember is to just stay with your queen in a knight distance from the king, and then when the king comes to the edge of the board, to the corner, you don't come to c7, but you just bring in your king and give a checkmate from the b7.